It's 45 degrees Celsius. There's no ocean for 1,000 miles. It hasn't rained in months, and the sand is hot enough to blister bare feet. And right in the middle of this furnace, a man walks into a mud dome, reaches down, and pulls out a solid block of ice. No mountain snow was carried in, no trucks, no chemicals, no plug in the wall. This ice was made right here, in the open desert, over 2,400 years ago, by people who had never even heard the word electricity. So how does a civilization freeze water in one of the hottest places on Earth, using nothing but sand, mud, and air? Stay with me, because the answer is one of the smartest, most underrated tricks in the history of engineering, and it still works today. Let's go back to around 400 BC. This is the time of the Persian Empire, one of the biggest and most advanced civilizations on Earth. Persian engineers were already famous for building canals, irrigation systems, and cities that could survive in brutal heat. But keeping ice frozen through a desert summer? That was a different kind of problem, and they solved it with a building called the Yakhchal. The word Yakhchal simply means ice pit. From the outside, it looks like a giant beehive rising out of the sand, sometimes as tall as an 18-meter building. Underground, it hides a deep storage pit that could hold thousands of cubic meters of ice. Some of these structures are still standing today in cities like Yazd, Kerman, and Maybad, in the exact same shape they had thousands of years ago. Here's the part that sounds like magic. The Persians didn't just store ice in these buildings. They actually made ice, from scratch, in the desert, using nothing but nighttime air. To understand how, you have to think about desert nights. During the day, the sun bakes the ground and the air feels like an oven. But once the sun goes down, everything changes fast. Desert air is extremely dry, and dry air can't hold on to heat the way humid air can. So at night, the ground and any water sitting out in the open lose their heat straight up into the sky, into space itself. This is called radiative cooling, and in the right conditions, it can drop water below freezing, even when the air around it is still above zero. The Persians figured this out without any modern science. They built long, shallow pools next to their yakchals, usually facing away from the sun, tucked behind tall shade walls. Every night, thin sheets of water in these pools would freeze. Workers would break up that ice at dawn, carry it into the yakchal, and pack it into the underground pit before the sun could touch it. But making a little ice at night is one thing. Keeping it solid all summer is the real challenge. And this is where the design of the yakchal itself becomes brilliant. The dome and the walls were built from a material called sarouj. It's a mix of sand, clay, ash, goat hair, and even egg whites, and it hardens into something almost like waterproof concrete. The walls at the base were often more than 2 meters thick. That thickness meant heat from outside barely reached the ice inside, the same way a thick winter coat keeps warmth in and cold out, just working in reverse. The shape mattered too. A dome sheds sunlight instead of soaking it up, and it lets warm air rise and escape through a small opening at the top, rather than sitting on top of the ice. Then there's the airflow. Many yakchals were paired with tall towers called bajgirs, or wind catchers. These towers had no motors and no electricity. They simply caught even a light breeze at the top and funneled it straight down into the storage pit below, pushing cool air in and pulling warm air out, all day and all night, for free. And one more piece completes the system: qanats. These are underground tunnels the Persians dug to carry water for miles from mountains to cities, sometimes running for tens of kilometers underground. Because qanat water traveled below the surface, it stayed cool even in the middle of summer, and it could be routed straight into a yakchal to keep the whole structure even colder. So put it all together: thick insulated walls, a dome that avoids the sun, wind towers pulling in cool air, underground channels of cold water, shallow pools freezing overnight. None of these tricks alone would be enough, but combined, they turned a desert building into a working freezer, one that needed no fuel and no power source except the desert's own night sky. And the Persians didn't just use this ice to keep water cold, they used it to invent dessert. Ice from the yakchal was shaved and mixed with fruit juice, rose water, and saffron to make a dish called faloodeh, which many historians consider one of the earliest frozen desserts in the world, older than ice cream as we know it today. Royal courts served it to guests as a show of wealth and skill, because in a place where summer temperatures could hit 45 degrees Celsius, offering someone a frozen treat was like showing off a small miracle. Ice wasn't just for royal desserts, though. It became a real business. Merchants sold blocks of yakchal ice in the bazaars during summer, so ordinary families could cool drinking water or keep meat and dairy from spoiling for a few extra days. In a region with no rivers running through it and only a handful of rainy weeks a year, that ice supply chain was as valuable as the water supply itself. Caravans crossing the desert are even said to have carried ice packed in straw and cloth, using it the way we'd use a cooler today, just without the plastic. None of it would have worked without the qanats feeding the system. Some of these underground water tunnels stretch for over 40 kilometers, dug entirely by hand, sloping gently downhill so water could flow by gravity alone from a mountain aquifer all the way into a desert city. That same engineering, moving water underground to keep it cool and protected from evaporation, is what fed the pools where the ice formed every night. This technology didn't stay in Persia either. Centuries later, Mughal emperors in India built their own version of these ice houses. Akbar even set up a relay system with 14 stops to move ice across long distances before it could melt. The idea traveled because it worked, and because nobody had anything better until mechanical refrigeration was invented, more than 2,000 years after the first Yakhchal was built. What's remarkable is that none of this depended on complicated machinery. The Persians weren't fighting the desert, they were reading it closely, understanding exactly how dry air, cold nights, shade, and airflow behave, and then building around those patterns instead of against them. Today, engineers and architects are actually going back to study yakchals because the same passive cooling ideas, thick walls, wind-driven airflow, shapes that avoid direct sun, are showing up again in modern buildings trying to cut down on air conditioning and electricity use. Some of the original yakchals, like the one in Abarku, are still standing well enough that visitors can walk inside them today, more than 1,000 years after they were built. So the next time you open your freezer without a second thought, remember this. Someone stood in a scorching desert with no electricity, studied the night sky, and figured out how to freeze water using nothing but dry air, shade, and clever architecture. That was over 2,000 years ago. Sometimes the oldest solutions are still the smartest ones.